live. Danny Boyd, LP94, an unfinished project. We're here crazy early in the day. JB's Little Shop and the One-Eyed Cats says he and Wrong English are reporting from Cleveland. They must be visiting Uncle Sonny. Unfinished project. Cope was in the house briefly. He may be back by. 6th Street Garage is here. 38 Racing. Indecisive Garage. Said Friday Live about to start. Yes, sir. My Aunt Nancy, Dust Devil Brian, Colleen, a.k.a. Mama M to the third power. Old McDonald has a car. Cope says someone put a dime in the jukebox. Must be thinking of the old Pizza Huts. Turbo Tom 416. Dean is here. Buff Del Campo, Pure Pontiac Garage, Mean Street Mopar. Mean Street Mopar sitting at 292 subscribers. Come on, man, let's move the needle. We're into March. Brazil says watching from the Gator Nationals. Yeehaw. I like that track down there. JB says thanks for stopping by. I think he means earlier this week. My pleasure. It's always good to see you guys. Clayton's Toolbox. I don't even want to know how cold it is up there where he is. Bigfoots and Mopars. Brian Beeler. Freedom of the Press. Hello, everyone. I made it tonight before Take My Meds. Better known as ASO. SSR Performance James. Big James. Says, who else got that mud rain today? I don't know, but when I went to Tennessee earlier this week, I left out 2 trays of sockets. And they got rained on, and then they froze. And when I came back to them, just ice with sockets in it. So I took them all out and set them in the sink and dried them out now. Doesn't look like anything rusted, though, so all is good. Indirect Connection. Crashes Roadrunner Garage. Looks like he's got a 71 or 2 there. Can't quite tell the thumbnail, but that's a cool car. Bigfoot Mark. Got the little foot in his comment. I'm glad we got Unfinished Project and Lars here tonight because I'm going to do a giveaway. I need their help. Yeah, just for who's here. Clayton says it was about 40 today. Pretty nice. That is still just tundra frozen to me. I'm looking forward to it being up in the 60s, near 70 degrees here. Better drink my hot chocolate before my friend Billy asks me what's in the cup. Dean Stevenson says free but not dumb. Okay. Socket popsicle, yes, it was. I'd take them out about 10 at a time in a block of frozen ice and set them in the sink. I finally just hit them with the hot water and sprayer. I figured just add some more water, get the ice off. They'll dry faster than just letting them sit there. I wanted to get there before the rust set in, and it looks like I did pretty good. They're fine. So, but now I got to put all that back in the trays, so. Marty's Hot Rod Garage. Well, cool. Welcome. Ginger Billy Water. No, I guess. Yeah, welcome, Marty. Good to see you here. And where did I see Crash's Roadrunner Garage too? If you guys could put up the links for Crash's Roadrunner Garage and Marty's Hot Rod Garage, it'd be appreciated. See who these new folks are. Heavens Mopar Scott, how you doing? Scott is the recipient of the 3rd annual No Name Nationals Inspirational Clock. And the 4th annual will be going out soon. So you guys probably wasn't even on your radar now, was it? Old McDonald says, not even going to try to drink my 6-pack of Romulan ale. I'm sure I'll drink more Diet Dr. Pepper than I should when it gets warmer, but for now, it's hot chocolate season still. One-Eyed Cat says, Marty's Hot Rod Garage, visiting him in the morning. Well, that's cool. Very cool. Unfinished Project puts up the link for both Marty's Hot Rod Garage and Crash's Roadrunner Garage. I like that name. That Crash's Roadrunner Garage is a pretty cool name. Freedom of the Press says, I won't be able to make it this year, but we'll buy a ticket when it gets closer. We'll buy a ticket when you know you can make it. Come on out, man. We'd like to see you again if you can. Andrew Nelson is here. Crash says, sorry, no channel. You have a channel. It's just you might not have any content on it, but you have a channel. That's how you can post in here. Evans Mopar says, I can't wait to see who gets the clock this year. Yeah. We will see. It's going out it won't be long. Colleen's exactly right. You have a channel. Post a video on it. Post a video about that Roadrunner. Even if you don't have it anymore. Show us some pictures. Tell us about it. About you, something. The hardest video you'll ever produce and put up is the first one. Because usually it takes you years to do it. That's true for everybody. Indirect connections here. He's kind of like a bouncer. Got Levi. Post to Dart Sport. Sure. Dart Sport is seldom the wrong answer. Cookies. I'm gonna take a crack at making a couple of recipes. One of them's my grandmother's and one of them's my mom's, because I don't want to take any chance on those recipes getting gone to time. So I'm going to try to make one of my mom's cookie recipes, and I'm going to try to make my grandmother's, I believe it's her mother's, biscuit recipe. So we're going to try. See, I know, and if anybody would say that, it would be Crystal Kilgore, Red Solo Cup. We know who's having fun tonight. There's hot chocolate in there. There's no proof to it. Freedom of the Press says, I don't know, but Tony bring the heat this year. Well, Tony makes some really cool stuff for the No Name Nationals. And we're going to be giving away a piece of that tonight. We're going to be giving away a hat. Just because we haven't given anything away in a while. We need to do it. Isn't it patented, the hot chocolate in the Solo Cup? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know anybody else that does that. The recipe? Well, the thing about the recipe is not everybody, they don't turn out. So I think I have figured out why Mom's cookies don't turn out when other people try to make them. It's a bizarre, there's a couple little tricks to actually following the recipe. I think that people mess up. Although someone my mom knows tried to make them, and she is not a good cook. And the recipe calls for butter, and she took spray butter and sprayed it into a measuring cup up to the line and put that in and wondered why they didn't turn out. But that's not the case for most people. I've seen how Mom does it. You would just never have thought. So I'm going to try. Dean Stevenson says, I've heard Scamp Man's a little shorter than the full 111-inch wheelbase on the average Scamp. Slightly, except with the Mohawk. The Mohawk puts him there. Turbo Tom says, my first video was put up a week after my kids gave me a phone to make videos. Right on. Cool. Not everyone is so industrious. I think my YouTube channel goes back to 2006, and I don't think I posted a video on it until about 2012. 6th Street Garage, you would be surprised. You can get these to turn out fine with margarine. But there's other tricks to doing this that just, I've seen how she made them, and it's just, you would never think from looking at the recipe that's how you do it. That woman tried spray butter in them, and it was a disaster. Old McDonald says, I need to win something different. I should be good with all the stickers I have for now. Well, you'll have a chance to win tonight. We'll give away here in a little bit. Levi says work is killing him. I hear that. 38 says old family recipes don't come out because grandma didn't write everything down she learned about baking. Well, I got to tell you, one big thing is that a lot of those recipe cards were written in cursive. So, of course, that you lose a lot of it just to that because you can't have read the stuff. And then the other is people will say a container of this. Who knows how much that was in 1938? It's not going to be the same size container. And they don't have brand names and all of that. And so that is how a lot of this stuff gets gone, even when it is written down. Hot Rod Guy Garage is 149 days and a few hours to get busy. That will be correct. 149 days, 3 hours, 47 minutes. ASO's working off the laptop now. Well, that's cool. Wrong English is here. Howdy. Street Fox Mike, thanks for coming by. What about a medium oven? What's that? I couldn't tell you. Although it's probably more oven than I'd ever need to make anything. Pure Pontiac says I started using butter in my brownies instead of vegetable oil. Yeah, I like real butter. That's all I'll have in there. Land O'Lakes butter. Mohawk 62. Well, I mean, people are always going to call you Mohawk. You know that. AKA the Scamp Man. The original Scamp Man. How about that? Some ingredients might even be banned these days. Yes, that's a good point, too. You can't even get some of the same ingredients. So I'm going to see if I can get all the ingredients. I know you can for the cookies, but I'm not sure you can for the biscuits. So I'm going to go look and see. RG, when do you ever sleep? If you're talking about Hot Rod Guy Garage, that's a good question. One Eye Cat says Ron is wrong half the time. That means he flips a coin for every decision he makes. Is that what you're saying? I see Grand Pito Vic in here. How's it going, sir? 38 says I go through pounds of real butter for the Christmas cookies. See, I get that. Freedom Press says there's a lot of new channels. Yes, there are. Grand Pito Vic says I have my grandkids here, my harness is here, and we're going for startup tonight. I hope. Cool. Cross your fingers. Have one watch the oil pressure gauge. What do you mean by banned ingredients? Not really banned, just obsolete ingredients you don't get anymore. Turbo Tom says my boss's 69 Roadrunner has a lifter tick. I may be digging into that. 383 car or which engine? Freedom of the Press says Don got the fastest Plymouth. Faster than the boat that came to Plymouth Rock? What do you mean by that? Levi says, anyone needing a daily? I've got a 2010 VW Jetta for sale soon. 3,000 or best offer, 160,000. Not perfect. Will be a A to B car for sure. A friend of mine is putting a timing belt on a 2008 or something VW. Doing that maybe right now. It's a Hemi car. Okay. AHRA Guy Garage says, I'm 208 years old in car guy years. I'll rest when I'm dead. Well, gosh, in dog years, I'm ancient. I'm dead in dog years. Here's keto coat. Butter will make sugar carb cravings go away. So will discipline. I mean, stop eating that stuff for a while and just where it quits becoming a habit. You don't care anymore. Old McDonald says the original Coca-Cola had cocaine in it as an example. Yeah, it did have trace amounts of cocaine in it. And interesting you would say that, speaking of Coca-Cola. So if you saw the thumbnail tonight, it is an advertisement for Rockcliffe Ginger Ale, which was bottled in Rock, West Virginia up until the early 70s. And so there's someone I know that runs a channel, does Bluefield history, Bluefield and Princeton, the surrounding area history. And she's going to be doing a story about the old Coca-Cola bottling plant that was in Rock, West Virginia. And I'm interested in that. And she has an original family story, and we'll let her tell it on her channel. But I'm interested because my grandfather was the general manager of the Coca-Cola plant in Rock, and had a very long career there. He dropped out of high school in 1923 to drive a Coca-Cola truck and worked his way up to general manager and retired in the 70s. So anyway, that's a story that'll go really well on her channel. So whenever it's out, I'm sure I'll share the link. But I found that old advertisement for Rockcliffe Ginger Ale, which they also bottled there. I thought it was cool. I see Mexican Spec is in here. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Turbo Tom says, I won the service manual from 6% for the 426 engine. That's cool. Big James SSR Performance says, got my second Edelbrock order in yesterday. Don't forget to pre-register and get those deals. Indeed. Blue Grit Garage says, speaking of lifters, I just ordered a set of DLC lifters and brake-in oil through Alex at Edelbrock with our No Name Nationals discount. That's a great perk, guys. This 6th Street Garage is asking a great question for Cope because he has one and he drives it daily. Are you familiar with the 8 HP 70 Dodge / BMW transmission? What's your question about it? We'll leave that one right over to Cope. Freedom of the Press's T-Bird goes to my buddy Sunday to be finished. Okay, that's interesting. Post some content on that, man. Old McDonald says none of the Coke tastes like it used to when it's sold in glass bottles in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Well, most people just say that when New Coke happened, it never really went back to what it was before. And I remember New Coke pretty well when it came out. I think I was about 9 years old when New Coke came out, and there's something to that, but I don't know exactly what. AJ Kiley says, Friday already, just won't slow down. Friday comes every 7 days, whether you're ready or not. Yeah, I got a bunch of old Coca-Cola bottles. And I have one Pepsi bottle. But if you want to know why I have one Pepsi bottle, you're going to have to check out the video on that other channel. My grandfather would not allow Pepsi nor its brands in his house. He called it rot gut stuff. He wouldn't allow it. The SO's going to try, gets tired quickly. We understand. Mexican Spec says Pepsi in Mexico is horrible. Pepsi anywhere is horrible. Doesn't have to be. Got news for you, man. You get out of Mexico, the Pepsi is still terrible. Dust Devil Garage says, anyone saying they remember Coca-Cola having cocaine should be in the record books. They took that out in 1903. Yeah, he's just saying that he remembers that it had it. There's nobody alive. The oldest man alive was born in 1914. John Tenniswood was born in 1912, and he just died. And I don't know if there is anyone from 1913. Well, there may be. Clayton says, what's the coolest cars you have or had? Well, coolest to you or coolest to me? Because those could be different. And most of what I have has never been on my channel. Not saying that people have before. People say all kinds of crazy stuff. Coca-Cola has been around since 1886. Dr. Pepper makes the claim of 1885. Dr. Pepper actually got its name from a pharmacist who lived here in this area. Mexican Spec said it's subjective. My 63 Cadillac Eureka Hearse was uber cool to me, but not to everyone else. I think it's cool. I bet most people in this chat would think a 63 Cadillac Hearse was cool. Blue Grit says, I think a 300-year-old guy collecting Social Security would remember the cocaine and Coca-Cola. Right. Unfinished Project said, I'm an 80s Camaro guy. No, I did build one 91 Camaro. Belonged to a friend. He was out driving it a couple weeks ago. He sent me a message. Says, oh, man, driving it today to work. Just love it. Your favorite cars? Well, I would say my favorite car, the last car I would ever not own anymore, has never been on this channel. Not yet, anyway. We'll see. We'll get there. Rust before holes. Coca-Cola is great in the glass bottle. Big difference from can to glass bottle. Yeah, I'm not crazy about anything like that in cans. My uncle has the Coke machine that Grandpa had, to glass bottles. He's missing the changer for the front of it. Diecast Dream said his favorite car is a rusty 62 Dodge Lancer. I saw another one of those on someone else's YouTube video. I thought, wow, I can't believe that car has a doppelganger, but it does. Dean says, I had a forklift start in minus 26 degrees centigrade weather. Is that a cool enough car for you Americans? No, because we're having a stroke over the word centigrade. That didn't work for us. We don't know what that is. Oh, and that car, by the way, Vic, had floors exactly like yours, like none. It had about 1/4 of a floor. It was wild. Mohawk said, I just renamed my video on what we need to pass tech, title, things we need to pass tech, for the new guys or anyone else that wants to watch it. There you go. Fiberglass bumpers. Let me tell you, Frizzell, Unfinished Project will stay on you about this for eternity. If he ever wins something from you, you don't fulfill it, he will remind you for eternity. Anything he's won from me, I've had in the mail by Monday. 6th Street Garage says, if you have an Abbeville, Georgia Coke bottle, there's a man locally who will pay up to $3,000 for one. Yeah, okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I'll remember that if I ever see one. I don't know why I would have one, though. SSR says, I'm a fountain guy. When it's dialed in, it's hard to beat. Okay. Good point, though, about when it's dialed in. Bad Tree Blake, how's it going? Glad you could make it by. Levi agrees with Fountain. Old McDonald's milk is also not as good as it was in glass bottles. I could probably do a cool show and tell just with the bottles I've gotten out of Grandpa's house. It's all kinds of cool bottles. Well, there's about 500 empty Cuddy Sark bottles, but that's another story. But there's all kinds of cool bottles in there. Like old milk bottles and stuff like that. Because they got milk delivery too. Levi with the correct pronunciation, Balake. And when it's off, it's horrible. It's usually a little off. Yeah, that's true. Dean says, I mix a little metric with everything. Oh, metric. Blue Grid says, I have a short on using Tall Boy beer can for an overflow can to pass tech at No Name Nationals. Okay. Well, you have to have one. It has to be 16 ounces minimum. Colleen says that milk in glass bottles was probably raw milk, not processed. Unfinished Project says, I just pour the milk out of the plastic jug and into a vintage glass bottle. Well, there you go. It's kind of like when you're a kid, that the drinking water tastes better when it comes out of the hose, right? Same thing. All right, for Zell's update for Unfinished Project, there's a video coming on the fiberglass bumpers. I'm about 3 weeks ahead on videos. It's in the mix. Just not sure when the video actually drops. Cool. Freedom of the Press says milk lasts longer in glass. Boy, milk goes bad quick. Mexican Spec says water did used to taste good out of the hose. I don't know if the water changed or the hoses did. Oh, man. Probably all that lead in our drinking water back then. Of course, I got copper pipe in here, so. Freedom of the Press says Walmart milk lasts 3 days. Tell you what, I go for milk in the very back to get the freshest milk I can. All right, Unfinished Project says fiberglass bumper tutorial incoming. There you go. Drinking water, leaded or unleaded? That depends. Do you live in Flint, Michigan? No, actually, the town did a lead test here, said that I am good to go on that. But I do have copper piping in the house. It's like that movie License to Drive. You know, the cup's got to be empty. Diecast Dream says, I did grow up about 40 miles north of Flint. Yeah, my mom's had several family members go up there in the 60s to work for GM. We said they became Yankees. Copper is good for you. Yes, especially if you have a whole lot of it going across the scales. Mexican Spec says he buys milk with no lactose in a carton on a regular aisle. I don't buy cold milk. The expiration date is 4 months in the future. Okay. Evans Mopar's got some food poisoning from milk that he bought at Walmart. Yeah, well, that's pretty terrible. I don't do a lot of milk here, but I need to get 1 quart of it because I got 2 things I need to make with milk, and gives me a little left over or some graham crackers or to drink or whatever. I can't get a quantity of milk. It won't keep. Mohawk says, copper, don't say that too loud. Some meth head might be listening. Man, we really don't have any problems with that here. I have a sign on the front door that says there's nothing here worth your life. Podcast Dreams, can I ask a real car question? Sure. We're just talking about milk expiring quickly and messing around like we do on Fridays. And a whole lot of stuff in our food that shouldn't be there. Maybe old RFK Jr. can help clean it out and it'll be of value to other people, but whatever. 38 says there was a lot of lead pipe used in many locations, kind of like asbestos. Fine if you don't mess with it. Doesn't mess with you. Yeah, maybe. Are you assuming meth heads can read? That's okay. I got things here that speak in a universal language. Blue Grit says that the lead is usually fine if you don't disturb it. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, there's Stevie Fast here to complain. Well, you get a refund for what you paid to watch it. Unfinished project. I prefer my goat's milk, but schedule prevents me from keeping it going long term. I can see that. Diecast Dream says, I got the opportunity to change the motor and Stone Soup out to a Super 6. Do you or anyone else in the chat foresee any transmission motor mounting issues? Really want the motor but keep the 3 on the tree? You going to keep the 3 on the column, Nick? Is that the idea? And that said, don't you have a 170 in that car? I think those are really cool, that little 170. Yeah, 3 on the column is just too cool. Multiple size hole punchers. That is correct. The little hole puncher stays on me. The bigger hole puncher's right over there. .38 asks, was there any changes in pilot bushings in the slant? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think so. Don't they make a 4-barrel intake for the 225? Yeah, they make one. Yeah. The Empire of Rust. How's it going, sir? Haven't seen you in a minute. Blue Grid said a friend had a 3 on the tree in his Fairlane. I like the 3 on the column. Ford used 3 on the column all the way up to 1986 in the trucks. You couldn't get it in the 87 up new look with the AHRA headlights, but 86 and down had it. It was awfully late for that transmission, but they sure did. Captain Dew is here. Empire of Rust says fresh video up today. One Night Cat says Uncle Sonny hasn't sold me his 4-barrel intake yet. Yeah, they're out there. You can get an Offenhauser 4-barrel intake for the Slant 6. And there's lots of 2-barrel intakes out there for them, too. Blue Grid said when he would bring the Fairlane in for service, mechanics would ask him to drive it on the lift. I can see that. And the Empire of Rust got monetized 4 weeks ago. Right on, man. Congratulations to all the tens of pennies you'll make. I don't make much on YouTube, but I roll it over into No Name Nationals. Yeah, I hadn't taken a draw off of my monetization ever, and so it paid for the movie the second year. Diecast Dream says, Mo knows how to drive the car and she's only 13. I'd like to keep her generational anti-theft device on the car when we go to shows and stuff. But I'll tell you, it's too cool to change, in my opinion. I mean, if you really want an automatic, you can. Man, that 3 on the tree is neat. And I don't think you could get 3 on the column. I don't think you could get it after the 69 model year. And in fact, in 70, automatic became standard, and then manual transmission was a no-cost option. That's why you see so many fewer 70 and up Mopars with manual transmissions. That's the reason. 69 and down, you saw a lot more. But it was a $287 option, and this is back when the cars didn't even quite cost $3,000. So 10% of the value being a free option, of course a lot of people took it. It was novel then. Captain Dew got a new project once belonged to his late uncle. That's cool. That's neat. It's always cool to see family cars. Freedom of the Press is saying build that 225 with the cam headers and intake. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 38 says not many know how to place lift arms under the 59's X frame. I don't know. That'd be a good video. You should show us. Empire Rust needs an automatic column for my 56 Chevy. Well, if there's a person who knows Empire of Rust, it's probably 38 Racing here. That would be the guy I would ask. Yeah, Levi says, I've never had him. Me neither. Yeah, One-Eyed Cat has an aluminum block 225. Mad Tree Blake says, put a pistol grip on that 3 on the tree. Oh, my gosh. Boy, that'd be something to try to drive and deal with. I'd be afraid the weight of it would be riding the detents. When you're in second, anyway. Diecast Dream says, I'm going to start building the instrument cluster on my other channel next week. It'll be my first video over there. Okay. Empire of Rust says, who needs a 74 Scamp? Well, we got 2 Scamp people in here. Of course, Mohawk 62, the Scamp Man, and Vintage Adventurer Drives. So we got 2 Scamp people in here now. Or a Derringer grip. Maybe. Maybe. I'm boring like that. I like factory shift knobs. Captain Dew says, I got an 82 Dodge Ram D150 Swamp. It's not a swap, it's a swamp. With a 318 and a factory 833 overdrive 4-speed transmission. Hasn't been running since the mid-2000s. Well, you know how to remedy that. Sounds exactly like the guy that was working on a listing of mine a few weeks ago. Sounds like the same exact truck. Empire of Rust just nabbed a lovely 74. I like the Scamps. If you're the one starting a Scamp debate, we just mentioned them, and there's no debate. There is no debate. There's a few people that didn't know what they were talking about, and the rest of us did. No, you're not going to take the motor out of that Scamp. Marty's Hot Rod Garage is working towards getting monetized. Got enough subscribers, need the view hours, put out more videos. Exactly. $38 doesn't know how far off a 59 automatic column will be. I have no idea, but if there's somebody that would know, it would be Ray. Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Hey, Tony, we're going to give away a piece of your handiwork here tonight at the top of the hour. Old McDonald's has used a joystick for a shifter. That's what a shifter is, a joystick. What are you talking about? Cave Dave. Howdy. Crystal Kilgore just reminds us, remember, scamps are not darts. That is correct. They are not. Blue Grit like the scamps with the small bumpers and no beak. Yeah, that would be the 71, 72. Freedom of the Press says, if I could get the T-Bird to Missouri, who wants to drive it? How you going to get it to Missouri? I'd work about that one first. Brazil says, scamps are kind of cool. They just need a tunnel ram and a 4-speed. You could replace scamps with anything on Frizzell's comment, and I could see Bobby Frizzell still saying that. Tony's Hot Rod Garage, he said, did you see the Honey Badger short yesterday? I did not, but you should put up a link to that. Empire of Rust is asking Heavens Mopars, you think you'll get to go this year? Okay. Old McDonald says, I have a 68 dart. Is that what you have in the picture there? Because from the picture, I can't see the front or the back end to know. Bigfoot's Mopar says, tunnel rims are cute. I guess you have a roots style blower. Vic says the other channel is called Pretending to be a Car Guy. Here is the short of the Honey Badger unfinished project. Put up the link. KJ Kiley says scamps have a 111-inch wheelbase. Yes, they do. Freedom of the Press says he won't be able to drive it that far. Well, don't you have to make it roadworthy and all that good stuff first? And tags and insurance and all of that? Evans Mopar says he'll be there and already has my ticket. Right on. I will remind any of you who have not yet registered for the No Name Nationals, people are using their Edelbrock's incentives and saving money over there. And an email just went out to all kinds of channels that had registered from Alex So, introducing himself as basically our concierge at Edelbrock, our customer service representative for our group. And he's great. Great perk. Great service over there. Really good prices. Crystal Kilgore puts up a comment that says, Rich 220 pretends to be a car person and fails miserably. Oh, Rich. I don't know what he's doing these days. Levi said, what makes a cool parts failure trophy? That's on my list. You got to be creative, man. Captain Dew's birthday was 2 days ago, and he's now 36. Okay. Oh, well, okay. He's got it insured. About a day, and he'll go down the road. Well, you're further along than that than I thought. Edelbrock is not sponsoring. We do not have a sponsor. The Edelbrock is just offering a perk for people who are registered. If you're a registered participant for the No Name Nationals, you can get a discount at Edelbrock, and it's 10 to 15% off what you see at edelbrock.com. And those prices, as posted, are already in line with the big box speed shops. So you can save money over there. And as we buy as a group, we can buy toward an even better price break. So it's a really good program, just offered to us purely as a perk for registered No Name Nationals participants. Tony's Hot Rod Garage is vouching for the out-of-the-box 650 Edelbrock VRS carburetors. Yeah, everybody says those things are really good. Vic says he has to announce he has no idea what he's doing, so no one is disappointed. That's a lot better than the alternative. There's respect for that. Evans Mopar says, I'm excited to be placing an order soon with Edelbrock, thanks to Shane and the company. Yeah. Professor P made that happen. So kudos to him. Levi said, I got a cracked bell housing, broken piston still connected to rods, windowed windage tray, slightly bent flex plate, etc. Well, 38 says you're light years ahead because you know you don't. That there's a lot of truth in that. A lot of truth in that. In fact, if you look at the Dunning-Kruger scale, which does this, you're farther ahead when you're down here because at least now you know what you don't know. Shane's a great guy. Yes, he is. Professor P is a good dude. Blue Grit Garage said, should I bring a Ford engine for Levi to put in his Laguna at No Name Nationals? It might make it 660 feet if you do. Here's a link to Professor P's channel. Shane Polito, our own Professor P. Vic is out. Later, man. Levi says, at least the Chevy's run until you put them in kamikaze mode. Come on, Levi. Things got to hold together this year. Unfinished Project says, R.I.P. Richard Dunning. Okay. Tony says the Honey Badger's 428 would turn that Laguna into a pretzel. Evans Mopar says, I know it's not a good idea to use a bent flex plate, but could you if you had to? Well, I mean, the problem with the bent one's probably going to be trying to get it to bolt up, because I'm assuming it's bent on one of the ears where it bolts to the torque converter. So you pretty much have to unbend it just to get it to function, I would think. Captain New says, it's been a long time since I've driven a manual transmission, but soon I'll be getting back behind one. And keep up doing double clutching it like supposed to. Double clutching? What are you double clutching? Street Fox is asking if I've heard of or know Big Dog's Porting Good. Is that a company? Tony says a 398 stroke with a tunnel ram equals torque. Yes. Stuff with Cletus in the house. How's it going, sir? Blue Grit says at least the Ford engine will get you back to the pits after the run, or he can hook up to the Laguna and tow it back. You could tow it with the Mustang, go fetch it on the return road. It's in Illinois. I don't know those folks at all. No experience with them. Hot Rod Guy Garage says, ask Nick the Fan Man about Big Dog. So there you go. If Nick has experience with him, he'd be a good one to ask. Unfinished Project, can you drop the link up here for Nick? So Usually there's someone in the chat that knows something. That 66 Mustang with the 6 cylinders quick, yes, it was. That was cool. That was a cool ride. Walked her through the house at it. Older manual transmission now need the double clutch to keep it together. Usually it's something that just needs to be rebuilt when you're having to do that stuff. Unfinished project, put up the link to Nick the Van Man. I don't know. Honey Badger versus Laguna might not be the race people think it would be. One-Eyed Cat said, did you see where Niblack 57 called out Cletus McFarland? My money be on the Nelson's 100%. I don't even care what the race. Super chat from Cletus says, can't wait for No Name Nationals. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you there. One-Eyed Cat says, I'm going with the Nelsons. I wouldn't bet against the Nelsons on anything. Anyone ever tried double clutching? I'd say everybody in here has. My dad used to do it. Not for me, man. I like my stuff to synchronize and work. They know their stuff. Yes, they do. They're interesting people. Have a lot of heart and a lot of discipline and a lot of smarts. When you have those three things, you can do amazing things. Not everybody has all three. Tony said the Nelsons don't know how to build slow cars. The thing is, everything they have runs quicker than something comparable that other people have, which means they really get their stuff together and put the time in it and really get it sorted out. Levi says, I need to see this 428 for myself. That thing really, it was impressive last year. It's quicker now, I'm sure. Chris, I'd like to see Levi go down the track without braking. Uh-oh, Skelton Raceway in the house. Glad you're here. And if you haven't heard, I'm assuming that's Little Possum's handle there. If you haven't heard, Edelbrock is offering a perk to registered channels. If you are currently registered for the No Name Nationals, you have a perk with Edelbrock. We have our own concierge there, Alex So, and we get 10 to 15% off of the prices at Edelbrock.com. Anything in their catalog, 20,000 parts. And as we buy as a group, we work toward even better price breaks with them. So that is a perk for registering for the No Name Nationals. Blue Grid says, my buddy's 67 Mustang with the top loader could be shifted without a clutch. Yeah, right speed. You can shift anything without a clutch. Skelton says, 2024 bracket champ. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be a gimme to hang on to that. Just Mopar Joe, he's out there. Got a lot of bracket ringers hanging out there. Got Walter out there. Maybe 318 wheel run. That's a fun competitive bracket on Fridays. That's great news there. Yeah, I agree. Street Fox 5.0 says, hey, Stuff with Cletus, how's that LS Volvo doing? Uh-oh, Joe's here. Levi, don't forget to wear green to school on the 17th. Don't want you getting pinched. Skelton Raceway is calling out Mopar for 2 out of 3. We're going to see a repeat of the bracket finals. Yep, JMJ is here. We have our bracket finals are both in the chat right now. Blue Grit says, plus Alex Dettelbrock can find things for you if you cannot find it in the catalog. Yes, the customer service there is far and away better than what you're going to get from luck of the draw at a big box store. Stuff with Cletus says, everyone make sure to give a thumbs up. Yep. By the way, Little Possum, doing a giveaway at the top of the hour, just for whomever is here. Bigfoots and Mopar says, howdy, just dodge, Joe. Well, now we got that Department of Government Efficiency acronym. People do a double take on dodge. Stuff with Cletus says that I'm going to win the giveaway at the top of the hour. Well, we'll see. Mama M3 says, I swear Joe sits and waits for someone to type his name. Kind of seems like it. I have a feeling Joe's got that earbud on, just waiting. See if he comes up. Indecisive Garages. I might have a little bit for the bracket racers. That's right. We're going to have Indecisive Garage there this year. That's right. That's right. That bracket just keeps on getting more competitive. How many channels so far? A bunch. We need a bunch more. Tony's Hot Rod Garage says, we've got to get a cage in that honey badger. Yes, you do. .38 Racing says, UP's in the house. Does anyone else have a chance for the giveaway? Maybe. Empire of Russ says, I'm not bringing the wrecker this year, so no one better break down on the way. Wrecker's cool, though. I'm sure it was gentle on gas all the way from Kansas. Uh-oh, Unfinished Project said, driving home, going to be about 20 minutes. Oh, man, the giveaway's in 1 minute. I'm going to have some fun with how I do this giveaway, too. Here's Levi saying, we just better see a purple Mopar at Lambert's. That's all I'm saying. Well, I mean, there's plenty of room for trailers. You can bring the Laguna. See, Lambert's is on Thursday. That's how the Laguna made it there. Stuff with Cletus says, make an introduction to No Name Nationals so people can make response shorts they are going. They'll do that here. But yeah, I can make it a little anyway. Did its regular buffer that it does occasionally. Dizzy says, came in at the right time. Hope y'all are good. Cool. All right. It's top of the hour. Let's give away a No Name Nationals Flex Fit hat. Flex Fit fitted. These are cool. Come from Gunslinger Graphics. I'm going to give it away. Here's the thing, though. you get one guess. Only one. So you can't be doing like your full auto posting like Dakota. Won't work. You get one guess. Even if you get the right answer and you make 3 guesses, I'm only taking the first one. And if it's not right, you don't get it. Give everybody just a second. Mexican Spec said I could use a hat. I sunburned the top of my head recently. I used to wear hats all the time. I don't wear hats as much anymore. But I do like hats. I'd say in my 20s, you just never see me without a hat. I like hats. I don't know why I stopped. Probably had to dress up more. Anyway, let's give a hat away. All right, so this is my question. You get one guess. You get one guess. All right. In the movie No Country for Old Men, at the gas station, the quarter they flip on the counter, what year is that quarter? These are great. These are great. I've already seen the correct answer, but I'm letting them shuffle through here for a second. All right, we do have a winner. I'm going to go back and just make sure. Mexican Spec didn't want to try. Double checking to make sure. Okay. We do have the correct answer. 6th Street Garage got it first, and with one try, 1958. A few people got it. Yeah, 6th Street Garage got it. I know you did, but I like to wait just a little bit. Yeah. I remember the scene, forget the year. Well, you got it. Well, you had to remember the year. I like number answers like that because they're not as ambiguous as other things. But yeah, 6th Street Garage. I should have your address. I think so. I think I've sent you stickers. Pretty sure. Yeah, no, I know you do. Yeah, I know I do. I know I do. Yeah, I know you got a card this year. So I know I had your address. So be going out tomorrow or Monday. Congratulations. Yeah, I kind of miss giving stuff away. Hadn't done it in a while. It's a great scene. It's a great scene. John Wilburns, can I have the envelope, please? Mexican Spec wants to ask if my Christmas card has gotten there yet. Buff's Garage, did I show up in time for giveaways? You missed a giveaway by a minute. 6th Street Garage won this No Name Nationals flex hat. So going out to him. I'm not sure if it'll go out Saturday or Monday, but whichever. Empire of Rust says registered. Indeed. We have the Empire of Rust as registered. I'm going to go ahead and click on his link.
Right, history that I'm not having. So,
what all that is. I always save your sub counts when you register and track that year to year. That's a nice hat. It is. It is. Those hats are, you can get them at NoNameNationals.com. There's links below to Gunslinger Graphics, so you get them directly from them. Bruce just stopped by and said, I'm looking particularly beautiful this evening. Bruce, have you been drinking? Yeah, and I mailed Tony a card. I mean, Tony's, I don't know why. It didn't come back, and I definitely sent it. That's funny because some people send me reports of that, but I have this is the first year that I decided to take all of the labels. I had to create a master from scratch to put all the addresses to do labels because the, what do they call it? The template from AHRA does not work. It doesn't scale right. So I had to make one from scratch. And I had, I think, 192 addresses in there. So, yes, I noticed there's no music in that movie. There is no soundtrack in that movie. They did everything with a muted color palette, too. It's really, really, really well done movie. Did you pass him the red Solo cup? No, but I can. I'll pass that to my dog. He wants the empty cup. Joe said Levi's blowing up more LS's than seen in a Taco Bell bathroom. Cletus liked the Christmas card, yeah. Buff got his. Yeah, I'm telling you, some just did not make it to their destination. A couple came back. Mail delivery is getting awful. Yeah, I didn't realize how bad it is till people started watching tracking. I think the post office was losing more than we realized they do, which makes me worry about doing bill pay because, and I think it's the craziest thing, when you do bill pay at the bank mails a paper check to the other end. It's crazy. Why do they need to? Can they not do that electronically on their end? But they do. It's the only reason I haven't done like the mortgages bill pay or something. Just kind of, well, I have one of them at bill pay already, but Buff said, I just got a freebie 5.3 LS, but I have no desire to ruin anything I have right now. Crystal Kilgore says the post office here doesn't like her calling out them for messing up with mail delivery. Dean says mail is true and on time. I'm glad you get your stuff true and on time. Blue Grit said I got my AT&T bill a month and a half late. Yeah, sometimes, and I didn't realize just how much this happened until I was doing a lot of fulfillment, mailing stuff out for No Name Nationals, and I saw it. It's kind of a scary percentage when you think about it. Stuff with Cletus says USPS has mostly taken over their shipments now instead of contractors like they have been from post office to post office. Okay. ASO says UPS loses packages here. I'm sure all of them have their moments when they perform better than others, but I have seen some stuff well, I'm expecting something right now from our friend Lunar Outlaw Garage, and he showed me on the screen where it looks like the post office has lost it. It's just stalled out. I've had other things do that too. Bruce says, I paid AEP by bill pay on February 10th. They sent the check on the 22nd. And AEP got it on the 24th and sat until yesterday. There you go. It's maddening. I always just pay that one online. Of course, I've also got about 5 power bills. So I guess the post office personnel are working from home. Yeah, maybe. Stuff with Cletus is 195 days is crazy. If you haven't signed up, you better. It'll come quick. 194 days and 2 hours and 50 minutes. It is coming quick. Evans Mopar says, what do the letters LS stand for? I guess I could Google it, but. Bruce says, the joy is no joy. I don't know, Bruce. I don't think either of us have ever been accused of making too much of a joyful noise. Wrong English talked about it. He got his water bill on the same day they shut it off. It's funny you say that. I went downtown I had the water bill for Mom's house now, And so I went down there to say, hey, I said, isn't that water bill due? They said, no, you've already paid it this month. I forgot I did. I had paid a month in advance and forgot. That never happens. That's pretty cool. Crystal says it's most likely sitting in a post office and not moving. Start calling post offices. They'll find it and get it moving if you bug them. Yeah, that could help. Cletus says LS stands for lifestyle. Oh my gosh. I'm giving that the worst comment of the night right there. Dust Devil says lousy and slow. I'm not going to hang slow on them. Those things, I've done one LS swap in my life, and that car moved out. I'm not going to say they're slow. This is one I can't says I never mail bills out. I have a couple that I do, but almost everything I pay online. There are a couple I mail, and there's a couple that I only pay in person. I have like a reason that something didn't work out one time. So nope, I'm going to carry that one in person. Buff says, I've had merch sitting at USPS centers, but other merch made it all the way to Denmark. Not sure what that tells you. Yeah, it's random. I know one thing. The place it takes longer to mail anything than any other place is Idaho. Stuff gets to California all the way across the country twice as quick as it gets to Idaho. Because we have a few people from Idaho in the community, and every one of them, if I've sent them anything, it'll take 2.5, 3 weeks. Crazy how long. And I don't know why that is, but if I can mail stuff to Canada and it gets there quicker. Mexico does take a long time for some reason. Canada's not too bad, but Idaho is the worst. This was way more fun than Google. Generally speaking, it is. LS equals low $sign. Yeah, I guess. Although when I did it, it wasn't cheap, but it was kind of novel then. Cletus says, if y'all didn't like the LS swap to Volvo, just wait till you see what I bring this year. Oh, I can't wait. Bruce says one of his cats is snoring. Time for a firecracker. Well, remedy it. Mexican Specs is LA USPS facilities where they sort the mail. I would expect stuff to get there faster. Well, it does. It does. LS largely suspicious. No, I like the LS. I do. I like them. I don't have a problem with them. I'll tell you what, power for the money. You can't beat them. BNR says LS1 5.7. The one I did was an LS1 short block, had an LS6 intake, injectors, little roller cam. There's a short of it on the Rate My Chop challenge I did for 6% recycled. So I did put that up. And then I got a community post of the car. The guy that owns it took it to Florida. It's a good running car. Joe says left stranded. I told Joe, I think I sent him a message a day or two ago, and I said the hierarchy for worst Mopar swaps, with worst being an LS and then being a V10 like a Viper and then being a third-gen Hemi. Well, there's mostly old parts wrong Ward. He says been working 6 days a week lately, but it pays the bills. Cool. I hear that. Empire of Rust says anyone near Kansas have 14-inch tires they don't need. Okay. Clayton says, I like LS. I like things that are different, better. LS is too common. Yeah. When I did that LS swap, it was not a common thing. The Camaros then, they all had 305s and 350s. So this one was kind of novel. But this was a long time ago, too. Yeah, and Tony says it's a good engine. I get sick of seeing them stuffed and everything. Well, back when I did that one, it was kind of neat. You raise the hood. It's like, oh, wow, that has like, it was out of a WS6 Firebird. And we added a little to it. That thing was quick, too. It would move out. went ahead and took. Well, the reason for the swap was because it had the $700 4 in it crashed out, of course, and so like, well, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it all. So we did an LS and a T56 swap, put a Ram clutch in it, lowered the gear from a 273 to a 323. Car would rock and roll. Well, Ron may be able to help you out there. 38 says, I've got 14s, none you'd want, though. Ah, there we go. There's the link to that short of the Camaro if you want to hear it run. Buff says, I suppose you didn't like my Pontiac Iron Duke and a $69. Actually, I like that a lot. Oh, LS is cool. Body swaps are hot right now. I'm doing 2 of them. Ah, man, I am so not a fan of body swaps. I know people do them. I know they're popular, but that's a trend I kind of be glad when it goes away. But whatever, we'll see what happens. Hot Rod Guy Garage says, I've done tons of LS-based swaps back when it wasn't everywhere. Part of why everything I do now is eyeball. Yeah. See, when I did it, there weren't even kits to do it. Like the header on one side is swept, and on the other side, it's a street rod style header, and the mounts were prototypes from a place, F-Body Performance. It doesn't even exist anymore. And it was different. It was a different swap to do. The transmission swap was incredibly easy because it had a good sized tunnel. It was automatic. The hole for the shifter was not in the right place. I did have to cut the hole, but the transmission mount lines right up because GM has that modular mount style where you can use it, forward or back. And the mount had all 3 drilled. So I actually have 6 bolts on the holding the transmission mount in, transmission cross member. And the drive shaft going from a $700 4.0 T56 is exactly the same. Same drive shaft. Tail shaft comes out in exactly the same spot. Go figure. Isn't that wild? .38 Racing did a TBI swap back in the early 90s. No internet to Google then. Yeah. Back then, you had to look in magazines. You had to call people in the know. You had to study stuff, go to the library. Empire of Rust is looking for 215 70 14. He's trying to get a 70 red and white Dodge pickup. Empire of Rust says, and wheels, if I can get them for a 65 New Yorker. A 65 New Yorker takes 14-inch wheels? Well, I think that'd be 15s, but whatever. Stuff with Cletus says Coyote swap, electric swap, Hemi swaps. It's all cool. Yeah. Bigfoots and Mopar says most YouTube project car trends are cliche and boring. Will it run? Revivals, get it running and push it back in the field after content is uploaded. Yeah, there's a lot of things that fads and stuff that come and go. Some I'm always glad to see go. Ron Ward has a good point here. FYI, find a buddy with a Ford Ranger. Those guys know where all the 14-inch tires are. Yes, this is true. Well, that's a nice hack that Ron shared. I knew that one. The junkyards told me that. You can still get them new, though. Yeah, Ron says we got a 66 Chrysler 300 in the shop with factory 14-inch wheels. Yeah. Well, you know, the factory wheels for the 9-inch brake cars up on the darts at the 69 were 13-inch wheels, which I always thought were so cool. And I have some of them. I have some 13. When I was a kid, I collected wheels. I got hundreds of wheels. Blue Grid says his wife's 65 Mustang came with 13-inch tires. I did not remember they came that small. Yeah. Mexican Spec doesn't like to see electric conversions on classic cars. What do you think the lifespan of a converted electric classic car will be? Well, the good news is if somebody did it, somebody else would just take it out and throw that stuff away. So funny. I mentioned Lunar, and then he says what he sent me made it to Virginia. We'll be talking about what he sent me on here very soon. So apparently I'll have it this week. It's talking about e-swap, something like a Geo or a Chevette. I mean, the all-electric thing is it is what it is. It's okay. It's just not my bag. Mohawk says I have 864 Dart hubcaps, 6 in great shape. Cool. .38 Racing says I have some 13-inch 5 on 4 3/4 wheels. Wow, almost have a use for them. That's an odd combo. 6th Street Garage, his tires have gotten ridiculous in the last 20 years or so. They've gotten even more ridiculous in the last 5. Like probably close to double in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Mexican Spec said he'd rather drive the Geo with the 3-cylinder engine. Yeah, me too. I'm not. I thought those were pretty cool. I think Cletus was just talking about doing something small, which would definitely be better, probably. Something lightweight, not have to try to deal with as much battery. Blue Grid's seen them do pickup trucks. Yeah, so you can stick all the batteries in the bed. That actually makes a lot of sense, a small, lightweight pickup truck. Rusted Metal Garage joins us. Says, hi, everyone. How you doing? Stuff with Cletus says he wouldn't do an electric swap, but they're cool and still better than squatted trucks. Yeah. Boy, what do you guys think in the chat? If you had to be seen in one, electric swap or squatted truck, which would you pick? And your friends have to see you in it, and they have to know that you stopped at a red light, you can't get out of it, and they might make a short of it. Which do you choose? Danny Boy says hard to find 14s. Indeed. Dizzy Izzy has in Paris, Tennessee, a little fixer-upper house, 4.1 acres. It's going to have it listed on April 15th. We'll give a discount to folks in the No Name National community. Well, Dizzy, when you have that listed, I'll be happy to share the link. So, 6th Street Garage says if I have to pick between electric and squatted truck, he would say electric. B&R says neither. No, man. The island is on fire. You've got to get in one of them and get out of there. Which is it? You got to pick one. Tony says electric is less embarrassing. Levi says electric is less embarrassing. Mexican Spec said at least you can fake the electric swap as gas. You can't fake the squatted truck. There's something true. Danny Boyd, Mohawk, yeah. Street Fox can't answer it. Well, you know what? You and B&R, you have to choose. Indecisive Garage had an 86 Geo Metro with 12-inch tires, but 200,000 miles. Yeah, the Ford Fiestas or Festivas. The Festivas, that little tiny one, they had 12-inch tires. I remember that. Most of the old parts is electric car over squatted truck any day, but a squatted Tesla truck would be the ultimate sin. Oh, man, I haven't seen that yet. But now that you said that, you're right. That will be one of the most vomit-inducing things I can think of. You're correct, Ron Ward. That's a horrible thought, man. I'm glad I wasn't taking a drink of something when I read that. Electric, BRs as I'm walking. Captain Dude's talking about a weird hubcap, Pinto hubcap on a 69 Valiant. Now the wheels on a Chevy. Okay. So on a 69 Valiant, you would have a 5-on-4-inch, and it's on a Chevy. So what bolt pattern is all that? That sounds bizarre to me, that whole thing. Well, it seems, and then Tony says, I wouldn't be caught dead in a squatted truck. Reminds him too much of a dog dragging on the carpeting. Yeah, that whole squatted truck thing, I think everybody in the chat is unanimous that it would be less embarrassing to be caught in an electric vehicle than a squatted truck. I would agree with that. .38 says, how much different is the Carolina squat from the Gasser stance? The Carolina squat is much worse. I've seen those, and it is ridiculous. I don't even know how they drive them. I really don't. I don't know how they drive the things. I don't know how they steer them. I mean, they got to have 20 degrees of caster in them the way they sit. I sure don't know how you back one up. I guess they're just holding it against the power steer and trying to back it up. Mexican Spec said, I drove a Festiva pretty quick from LA to Vegas. It ran pretty well. Yeah, that's a 4-hour drive? Blue Grit said, I would pick electric but park it away from the house. Park it a few houses down so people don't know it's yours. Is that what you're thinking too? In addition to it burning the house down from having a short. Yeah, Ron Ward says the OG Honda Civics and Mini Coopers had 10-inch wheels. That is correct. There's a guy here in town that collects vintage Japanese cars, and he has some that are in beautiful condition. What I need to do is do an episode with him, do some filming out there. I bet he would let me. He's right here in town. But he has a few of those CVCCs that have the 10-inch wheels. Kim fixes things that either is bad, but everyone already knows I'm gay. So Cletus had the worst comment of the night. Kim fixes things, gets the best. There you go. Bigfoot Mark says, the people that drive Cybertrucks think Cybertrucks are cool. This is true. I think they look like a refrigerator that fell over on the back. Cybertruck's ugly. Yeah, but all trucks are ugly now. Look at the front ends on these trucks. All of them are hideous. The Chevy is the worst. The Dodge Ram and Ford compete for second. The Chevy is definitely the Chevy truck looks like a 4-year-old put a puzzle together from a different picture. The Chevy truck's just a mess. Mohawk says, don't they all squat from the Bud Light to bed? I don't know. I've never been close enough to see what makes it, but I'm assuming they just use half of a lift kit. I don't know. It's a mess. BNR says the squatted truck is gangbanger stuff in Chicago. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Only been to Chicago a few times. Just rode through with Coke. It's the only time I've ever been there. Street Fox is saying, would you drive Cyber or squatted truck? Well, that's a great question. I'm going to go with the Cyber truck if I have to pick. If I have to choose between those two, it would be the Cyber truck. The Honda 600 had the small wheels. The CVCC was after that. You are correct. That's exactly right. It was the 600 that had the 10-inch wheels. Then the CVCC was between it and the Civic. That is correct. Didn't think about that. Should have known you would know that, though, but that's right. Captain Deuce said the Chevy bolt pattern is 4-inch hub 1980 Chevy Celebrity. Didn't know that. 5-on-4 for a Celebrity? Had no idea. I know where there's a celebrity sitting now. I kind of want to go see. Roy Boy, howdy. Glad to see you sneak in here. TK's Garage Channel says saying Dodge is bringing back 3 Hemi options for trucks. Okay. Mostly Old Parts is the best Cybertruck meme he's seen. Doesn't even have a Cybertruck in it, just a urinal in a prison cell. Okay. Cybertruck with a big block Mopar in it. Well, that will be interesting. I'm sure somebody will do a gas Cybertruck or already has or whatever. Cybertruck is built Truff. The one that was blown up in front of the Trump Tower proved that. Okay. Mohawk said Tennessee made the squatted trucks illegal. Bumpers can only have a 3-inch different height. A lot of states have that now. I'm pretty sure Virginia does. I don't like the 3-inch differential. And the way the laws are written, it's kind of a mess too, because it doesn't actually protect people who are hauling stuff in their truck. The only squatted truck should be a truck that's got a heavy load on it. Sixth Street Garage says, don't you buy no ugly truck. Chevy commercial from 1988. I remember the first new 88 Chevy truck I saw was a big deal because my entire life, the square body was the truck until 1988. And then they came out with that new rounded looking front end. Although the first one I saw had the regular headlights set back in there. It was an 88 model. Remember how different that looked. And then, of course, in 87, Ford came out with that aerodynamic looking front end too. BNR says, they say, whomever they is, the Cybertruck can't drive in snow. I don't know. I hear they actually go pretty well, but I don't know. Certainly never driven one. I've seen a few running around. There's an HVAC company that has one that's wrapped down the street with their branding on it. Tony says, then I guess Brian's Duster would be illegal in the opposite direction. There you go. Same thing. Mexican Spec says, if it's squatting, isn't it overloaded? There's a limit to what you're supposed to put in the bed. You're talking to a guy that's hauled 16-foot lumber in a CRV and towed a 4-wheel drive Ford Ranger on a tow dolly behind a CRV and towed a Roadrunner with it. I mean, come on, man. Fortune favors the bold. Most of the old parts, Ron Ward says Chevy hasn't had a good-looking truck since 87. Yeah, that would be the square body. Yeah, that was definitely the end of their classic era. Dizzy had an 83 CVCC Honda. Great little car, and it got totaled. Oh, man, what a bummer. That's interesting. It says a Buick hit the brakes for a squirrel and rear-ended her at 23 miles per hour. That is awfully specific. Is that what she told the cop? Mohawk said, yeah, his front bumper's 9 inches lower than the rear. Right. I don't know. It depends how those laws are written, but I don't think they're written very well. You know, it's interesting to me because a lot of these legislators are lawyers. You know, they're lawyers before they get that seat, and yet they'll write laws that are the most poorly written stuff I've ever seen from a contractual standpoint. But I digress. Blue Grid says, if you're going to put a big block Mopar in a Cybertruck, put it in the back like the Hemi Underglass Barracuda. Yeah, I can see that. That's where it would be. Ron hauled a stack of 10-inch boards in a 98 Plymouth Neon with all the windows, doors, and trunk closed. Yeah. All right, people, what's the craziest thing you've ever hauled inside a vehicle that shouldn't have been? Kind of curious now. Yeah, I've got a short on my channel of hauling lumber at Lowe's, and remember that old woman at Lowe's that was working the register she had this thing. She did not want me, doing that. You shouldn't have done that. Like, what do you care? It's entertainment for you on your shift working. Why do you care? Mark Phipps says that's because laws are written by 5-year-olds. Okay. Ron says the square body is my second favorite GM truck body style. My first is the 55 to 57. Yeah, those are good looking trucks. Airplane wing and the PT Cruiser. Yeah, I'll take things I never want to see for $300, Alex. 6th Street Garage is, I think, the 67 to 72 is the best looking trucks of all time. Yeah, I can get behind that. I think the best looking truck, in my opinion, for me would be a 68 Ford. There's a guy that lives down the street from me, actually 2 streets down, and he has about a 67, 8, 9 F100. He's got it painted hot rod black, and the truck has just been sitting in that driveway and not moved for years and years and years. And then he puts this yellow vanity tag on the windshield on the inside, and I thought it was a for sale sign this last year. Oops, stop. No. Anyway, now I noticed he's got it jacked up in the air and got all the wheels and tires off of it. So maybe he's doing some work to it. Anyway, hope to see it running around soon. It's a cool truck. A-Code says he's hauled a Snap-on small roller toolbox in the back seat of a K car. Yeah, there we go. 38 hauled a transmission receiver hitch in the rear end all at the same time. Yes, you did. All the way from Nebraska to Missouri in the trunk of a 59 Chevy. Mark Phipps says a whole beef butchered in the trunk of a 70 Olds Cutlass. This is why I do this right here. This is great. Main Street Mopar hauled a 318 and a 727 in the back of a 97 Malibu. High five to you. I had a slant 6 and a 904 and some leaf springs all in the back of CRV. Oh, and I had a first-gen Hemi in the back of the CRV. Izzy says, craziest thing I ever hauled, my first wife. Yes, sir. Now, this was a minivan, so this is reaching, but Colleen said she had 5 engine blocks, 2 transmissions, and a hoist. It's pretty good. Yeah, we'll give you credit for that. Ron's hauled multiple bushels of apples in the trunk of my Roadrunner. Nice. Very nice. I like that. So Street Fox Mike has hauled an engine and a hatchback Fox body. He's hauled rear end, lumber, brush, scrap metal, etc. Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh my gosh. Unfinished Projects hauled a calf on the passenger floorboard of an 88 D250. Love it. Love it. Dougster says, I thought Ford made a 10-foot box pickup in the 70s. I've never seen that. I don't think so. But they did make one that had a lot more wheelbase. And then some of them would have the toolbox in front of the rear wheels. I always thought those were really cool. But I believe it was an 8-foot box still. Of course, I could be wrong. The Ford guys here would know. Crystal Kilgore said, I had a goat ride shotgun in the truck because I didn't have a crate or a cage big enough. Jethro never rides in the crate. He has a crate. He never rides in it. I mean, I have it because there might be a circumstance where somebody else might need to transport him, but he just rides, He has a mattress in the back of the car and he never rides on it. He likes to sit up right next to me up front. He's got to be really tired to ride on his mattress. LP94 puts up the link to Mean Street Mopar. He's at 293. He's got to get 207 more. Come on, man. This is a very Dean Stevenson-like comment that this is pretty wild. A Troxler 3440 nuclear density meter in the rear bench seat of a Toyota double cab pickup. If anybody said that's what they hauled and I didn't know who it was, my guess would have been Dean. Junkyard tagged a deer and stuffed it in the trunk of a 90 model Grand Prix. Right on. Oh, I'm so glad I asked that question. This is good. Mark Phipps says, my dad hauled a B Alice Chalmers in a 72 3/4 ton Dodge. Cool. Crystal says, loving the calf. Yes, that was really good. Buff Del Campo is live tonight after me. Most of the old parts wrong. Ward says Ford made a camper special that had a 9-foot box. Yeah, the camper specials had that super long wheelbase, as I recall. Man, I had the chance to buy one of those one time for just a song. It was a 72. It was, I think it was a 390 automatic, 3/4 ton, 2-wheel drive. Such a sweet truck. Things I think, and of course, this is a real long time ago. But Peckerwood Custom says, live goat and 2 chickens in what would be a 91 Caprice. Moving house. Had to happen. I'll show you a picture, speaking of that. Speaking of chickens. When I went down to Tennessee this week, I saw JB and Lars, and I saw my cousin's daughter with her show chicken. That's her show chicken. She's taking it to show and tell. Danny Boyd says the spare tire lives in front of the right rear wheel under a removable panel, which makes up the bedside. Super camper special. Yeah, I don't know what makes it that, but it's a cool truck. Ford did some cool stuff with their trucks like that. I always liked. BNR said I had a Chevy 350 in the back of the wife's 99 CRV. Yep. Evans Mopar said a 440 in my Dodge Caliber, mini hoods and sheetrock on top, 20-foot lumber, crammed complete front clips from the junkyard. It's my truck. Yes. There you go. Barrow's Garage. How's it going? Vintage Adventurer Drives. We mentioned you earlier. We said we now have 2 scamp people. Mohawk 62, the Scamp Man, and Vintage Adventurer Drives, who is at, what are you, around 360-some subs in your No Name 500 race? So make sure to go check him out. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat said, I had a coffin with a dead body in my van from Pennsylvania to West Virginia. It just fit in there. Leave it to Wendy. Danny Boyd said, I hauled a 5-gallon bucket of drywall mud on the passenger floor of my original cab on my truck, and every time I hit a bump, the bucket sunk lower and lower through the floor. That's awesome. Most of the old parts says, every Ford camper special I've seen has at least one auxiliary fuel tank. Yeah, that's right. They did. That will be right. Yep. I always like the look of the gas tank behind the seat in the cab, but let's be honest. We all know it's a little sketchy. That Ford camper special is worth quite a lot. Yeah, they've appreciated over time. It was an old truck when I had the opportunity to buy it. Vintage Adventure Drives hauled a Suzuki ALT 53-wheeler in the back seat of my 71 Satellite. Same car bringing the No Name Nationals. Tell me you have a picture of that. That's pretty cool. Mr. Rodder's Neighborhood, Dallas. How's it going? Glad you could make it. I hauled 3 Buick 455s in the back of an 83 Regal station wagon. Nice. Wendy likes me with the suit picture. Okay. Well, I'm putting it back on Thursday. Show chicken. Yes. That's her show chicken. Mexican Specs said I posted a nice one on a Ford truck board and told nobody wants. That's crazy. I think they're really cool. Here is the link Lars puts up for Vintage Adventurer Drives. No Name 500 contender at 365 subs. Dougster saw one. It was a bad shade of green. I love it. I love green. Green's probably my favorite color. Mr. Rodder says, what are you doing in a suit? Well, I went down there to the service for Shelley Brooks. So I decided to look slightly more presentable. Danny Boyd says, first truck I ever drove was a 70 F-250 two-wheel drive camper special. Cool. I would love to own something like that. Mostfield Parts has hauled the fiberglass 6-barrel hood for Goliath 70 miles home on the roof of my 66 VW Bug. I bet you were puckered making sure that thing didn't blow off of there. Mark Phipps says his cousin in Southern Indiana has one. Cool. Rob's Rods and Streetcars. How's it going, Rob? Thanks for stopping by. Dallas says, I'm going to the dyno with the EZ302 on Tuesday. Cool. Let's be watching for that. That's been a long time in the making. Let's see what kind of horsepower and torque numbers Dallas's EZ302 makes. Wendy says, Ron had to sit in the lawn chair all the way to West Virginia. But that sounds like something Ron would do voluntarily. Danny Boyd is predicting 418 horsepower. 38 Ray is asking, will you keep us in suspense with the results, Dallas? Barrows says that when he moved to Boise, Idaho in an MGB, British Clampetts headed down I-86 with everything I owned tied to the trunk lid of that little buggy. And, of course, he was holding the hood with his hands. I knew it. I knew that's how you moved that. My dad had a 76 F-250 Super Cabs camper special with a new Process 435. Oh, that sounds so cool. Love it. So great. Vintage Adventure Drive says, you ought to see my dad's 66 C20 with 3 dirt bikes in the bed, pulling a trailer with 2 trikes and a 4-wheeler. All that with tons of camping gears for a weekend-long race. Right. Well, sounds like you're doing it right. Wendy says Ron had no choice, but it still sounds like something he would do anyway. Danny Boyd says, I'm guessing the EZ302 makes torque closer to horsepower than the DZ302. I wouldn't doubt it. Dallas builds good stuff. His stuff's not lazy, so we'll see what it does. Danny Boyd says, I'd love a new Process 435 or a Borg Warner T18 for my truck. Well, do it. Do it. You can get them. You can find them. Those are not unobtainium. Most of the old part says, what's the best way to deal with the neighbor's noisy roosters? Oh, we all know talking with them is not going to change it. So, Ron, you like to grill, don't you? Dallas, I got to get back down your way. I was down there 2 days ago, but I had to rush down and get right back. Chicken noodle soup? Well, Mean Street Mopar said, are there 7 people in the chat that haven't subscribed to my channel yet? Sorry for the shameless self-promotion. I just want to make it to 300. Dude, make some shorts, make some content. You can do it. You can do it. Take me up on the idea. I'm going to tell everybody what the idea is. I'm going to tell everybody here what the idea is. Let's see who in the chat wants to see this. I suggested to Main Street Mopar. He's got an 80s, like a D150, and it's flaring in high gear, and it's got a 999 torque flight in it. I said, dude, I said, pull that out. I said, we'll do a live stream tailgate rebuild on it. I said, I'll invite Cope, see if he wants in on it, and we'll do a rebuild on that transmission right there on the tailgate of the truck. There's your 500 right there. Who wants to see that? I was not judging the chicken competition. Vintage Adventure Drive. So I made a comment in my last video that chickens don't like to listen. Those things are always messing with my shorts. Messing with my shots. Okay. Looks like I'm undergrow my fancy clothes. Yeah. Coat doesn't fit too great. I'm telling you, I would too. I think it'd be great. Vintage Adventure Drives, I want to hit 500 first. You know what? You guys were neck and neck, and you're out front now. I'd love to see Mean Street Mopar make a race with it. You know what? We need to see who's going to be the first to get 500 this year. So Vintage Adventure Drives is in the lead at 365. Mean Street Mopar is at 293. And Stinger Salvage is right in the middle. He's right between them. I'd say any one of those three could get 500 first. Dizzy says, I'd come help. Yeah, it'd be a great. A lot of people would like to see it. There's the link for Vintage Adventurer Drives. Peckerwood Customs is saying 51 watching, 31 likes. Get on it. Mexican Spec says you have to be doing. You don't have to be doing shorts. You can totally. I mean, I never did a short for the first 2,000 subs I had, but shorts are a helpful way to do it. But you can definitely do long form content too. Mean Street Mopar says I have to get with you and Cope on what rebuild kit. It's a 73 non-lockup 904. Well, that's easy enough. So here's the thing: take it out. We'll do a disassembly on it. Do it live. Then you get the parts. We'll get you the parts. Figure out what you need. Parts will come in, and then we'll do a live reassembly. And we'll probably, in the interim, get a few things together and cleaned and all that so that the reassembly is just reassembly. I don't think anybody wants to watch you do like 2 hours of scrubbing on the case or something. So, but yeah, totally help you do that. Unfinished Project says Dizzy and Cope working over a transmission will break the internet. Yes, it would. It'd probably break more than the internet. And there's the link to Stinger Salvage. Lars says I'd pay to watch that. There we go. Main Street's at 298. And Lars puts up the link to Rust Before Holes. Yeah, 73 non-lockup 904. I was thinking it was a 999 in that truck, but yeah, that's totally doable, man. I mean, truth be told, probably get the parts for even took it down. But go ahead and take it down. Just check everything out. See if you need any hard parts or anything. See what kind of shape the bands are in and all that. We'll help you get it organized and all that. Maybe make some upgrades if you want to. But I think that'd be a really cool project. And I'm telling you, it would greatly help you get your subs. Dougster says a friend of mine got me a lockup 727 input shaft and pump stator. And another friend's given me an 11 Chrysler stock locking converter, 11-inch converter. Cool. Lars puts up the link for Lone Wrench Garage. He is in the No Name 500. He's got a long way to go. 6th Street Garage is 10-minute videos of the sweet spot for me, short attention. But 10 minutes is a long YouTube video, especially if people have never heard of you. So I would recommend for guys trying to get their 500 subs, do about 1 minute per 100 subscribers as kind of a attention span limit. And more shorter videos is definitely better than longer videos. At least start now. Vintage Adventure Drive says, is anyone here near Oklahoma? I'd like to do some collaborations with some folks. People in this community are everywhere. Buff's Garage says, Lone Wrench Garage has a sweet can. I'm not sure how to interpret that, Buff. 38 Racing says, making some shorts that lead up to the tailgate rebuild would really get the attention. Sure, of course. Okay, that's more like it, Buff. Lone Wrench Garage has a sweet van. Yes, he does. Buff says he is in Oklahoma. Mean Street Mopar says, I would like that. I know it was a downgrade when I swapped out the lockup 999 for the 904, was all I had at the time. Well, I mean, just do it. Just do it. Build the 904 and use it in something else later when you upgrade. You can do that. Or I'll tell you what we could do. We could swap out the gear set. Get your low first back. We could do that. Let's see here. The Empire is just about in Oklahoma. You talking about the Empire of Rust? I don't know what part of the state he's in. So Unfinished Project, of course, wants to know where the 999 lockup went. And, of course, I asked the same question, Unfinished Project. I'll let him answer. Empire of Rust says, let's do it. We aren't that far out, and I need them brakes. There you go. Ask, and you shall receive. Vintage Adventure Drives is 50 miles west of Oklahoma City. So there you go. I have been through part of Oklahoma one time. That was the first place I ever ate fried pickles. At a restaurant next to an Indian gaming casino somewhere in Oklahoma. Buff is 45 minutes from Joplin, Missouri on Grand Lake, Oklahoma. Vintage Adventure Drive says, once I get the car back on the ground, those disc brakes are free game. Okay, fair game. Dougster says, Oklahoma is okay. Mean Street traded the 999 with some other stuff for Lakewood bell housing. Every place here serves fried pickles, fried everything. Well, that was the first time I had ever had fried pickles. This was, oh gosh, close to 20 years ago. Wasn't impressed with fried pickles I thought of. But yeah, I can tell you that a few places do them really well, but most places don't. Unfinished Project says, what kind of pickle was it? I'm scared to try them because I hate dill. Lars puts up a link. It says, register or buy spectator tickets for the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. Yes, you can. And he's also getting in a plug for the American Hot Rod Association channel live every Wednesday at 7 Central Time. Yes, Dallas Professor P are live over there. And also, if you have not yet registered for the No Name Nationals, do not forget Edelbrock incentives. We get 10 to 15% off everything on Edelbrock's site at edelbrock.com. We have our own concierge, Alex So. So that is a great perk to register for the No Name Nationals. You will get that right away. And with that, we're at our time. So thank you guys for coming out tonight. I appreciate you being here. I plan to be back again this coming Friday. And with that, you guys have a great weekend.